the mayor-elect of our city of New Orleans, LaToya Cantrell.
New Orleans' first female mayor sworn into office.
I, LaToya Wilder Cantrell,
Do
solemnly swear.
Promising equity and opportunity to the people of New Orleans.
We're going to do things with purpose. We're going to do things that matter.
A special inauguration edition of the News at 5 starts now.
Live, local, late-breaking, New Orleans' #1 news. This is WDSU News at 5.
A transition of power in New Orleans. Midge Landrieu passing the torch to the first woman mayor of the Crescent City as LaToya Cantrell looking forward to the future.
But each one of us has a stake and a vested interest in setting and seeing this city succeed.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us for this special inauguration edition of the News at 5. I'm Sean Kreisman.
And I'm Salai Kim. Team coverage tonight on the swearing in of LaToya Cantrell and the new city council. We begin with WDSU's Travers Mackel, who attended the inauguration ceremony. Travers.
Hey there, Sulla. It's the longest speech the 46-year-old Cantrell has given since she became the city's first female mayor last fall. It lasted longer than 20 minutes, and while it lacked specifics like crime, infrastructure, and housing, it did have one underlying theme: that everybody in the city needs to come together.
As the mayor of this great city of
History made.
As the mayor of this great city of New Orleans.
Flanked on stage by her family at the Mahalia Jackson Theater in Treme, LaToya Cantrell says she's serious about leading the city.
We're going to do things with purpose. We're going to do things that matter. And we're going to do things that make some people feel uncomfortable every now and then. But make no mistake, we are going to do things, all of them together.
Not only does Cantrell become the city's first female mayor, she's also the first person in modern times to win the city's highest office who wasn't born and raised here. Cantrell grew up in California.
We are ready to spread the love to every person, all ethnic backgrounds, young, old, men, women, and everyone in between. We have to. We may be a little different, but truly, you know what? I can say this: we are woke people.
And the 46-year-old Democrat has her work cut out for her. While she's inheriting a budget surplus, issues like crime and infrastructure will be her focus.
But remember, no magic wand. The magnitude and severity of the challenges we face today means that I need your help.
And it was really a political who's who inside this building here in Treme today. 3 former mayors, Congressman Cedric Richmond, the governor, John Bel Edwards, even the Attorney General, Jeff Landry, was invited. He's the man who's currently investigating Cantrell over her credit card use when she was on the city council. Jeff Landry, though, did not attend today's ceremony. For now, we're live in Treme. I'm Travers Mackel, WDSU News.
Well, celebrating with a second line, Mayor Cantrell said she chose to honor this historic day by parading with women to the inaugural reception at Armstrong Park. WDSU's Jennifer Crockett, she is there now. She is live where that party's happening, and they say the people there are inspired by the new mayor. Jennifer.
Well, Mayor Cantrell said that the city of New Orleans choosing her as their mayor was intentional, and she said she likes that. Today's services and ceremonies intentional too, with nods to African American history and women's rights. The beat hasn't changed, but how New Orleans moves is. Stepping into the future with its first female leader, Mayor LaToya Cantrell.
I'm happy to see it. It's wonderful.
Third grader Janiyah Dabney had to see it all for herself. Why are you not at school today?
Because to come see the LaToya Cantrell.
She came to Armstrong Park to meet the city's first female mayor, and she's leaving with a new idea.
I can become a mayor and help New Orleans.
That's part of it, but there's also a city to run. Cher Washington said that's the part of Cantrell's inaugural speech that gave her goosebumps.
When she emphasized the great city of New Orleans, that meant so much.
Voters at the reception saying there will be promises to keep tomorrow after celebrating the firsts of today.
I'm excited that she came from the grassroots, and I hope that she'll continue to listen to the voices of the people as we move the city forward.
Mayor Cantrell said that becoming the city's first female mayor to her means progress and inclusion. Those are the two themes of her first term. Reporting live at Armstrong Park, I'm Jennifer Crockett, WDSU News.
All right, Jennifer, thank you. And the party is not over for Mayor Cantrell and the other newly elected officials. Tonight, there's an invite-only black tie inauguration ball. It's at Mardi Gras World at 8 p.m. We're going to have coverage from the ball tonight on WDSU News at 10.
Mitch Landrieu closing a chapter as LaToya Cantrell taking office. Landrieu has served as New Orleans mayor since 2010, and he is leaving on a high note. His accomplishments include rebuilding public works, eliminating a nearly $100 million city budget deficit, and reforming a scandal-plagued police department.
I loved serving. I was blessed to serve. The people of New Orleans are awesome. We worked really, really well on the transition, and I want to wish Mayor-elect Cantrell well. She's going to do great, and everybody ought to help support her because this city is a beautiful, lovely city, and it's always worth fighting for.
Landrieu joined a crowd of present and former elected officials and supporters at the inaugural mass.
And on the New Orleans City Council, a mixture of representatives, 5 of the 7 old city council members replaced by a new and more diverse group.
The diversity that is on this council, the 300th birthday of the city of New Orleans, showing that this place is more diverse than it has ever been in its entire history.
Well, New Orleans' first Asian and first Hispanic female council members were sworn into office this morning. WDSU anchor Christina Watkins joins us live from City Hall with more details. Christina.
Well, Sally, yeah, diversity is the word of the day. And as you mentioned, that is because Cindy Nguyen is the first Asian American council member ever, and Helena Moreno is the first Hispanic. And even though they were officially sworn in today, Helena Moreno says they all spent the past few months getting to know each other and their strengths. She says she understands they face challenges, but says she feels they can get it done. Now, when it comes to being diverse, though, City Council President Jason Williams says having the first Asian member means a lot because it represents a culture and community that means so much to New Orleans.
That is a big deal for us all, because it says that we see and we hear everyone.
That I'm gonna work really hard. I'm gonna be honest to everybody. I'm gonna be accessible. And I look forward in working with all of you.
Nguyen says she and her family moved to America more than 40 years ago. Coming up in about an hour at 6 o'clock, hear more of her message to New Orleans. We're live at City Hall. Christina Watkins, WDSU News.
All right, Christina, thank you. Well, today marks New Orleans' 300th anniversary. The Crescent City started as an unlikely settlement along the bend in the Mississippi River. Despite fires, floods, epidemics, and Hurricane Katrina, our community has endured 3 centuries. We are known for our resilience, and our culture helped to shape America's culinary and musical heritage. New Orleans has lasted so long because people who live here are fierce defenders of our way of life.
You can watch more inauguration coverage on our website, WDSU.com. Also, watch it free on the go with the WDSU app. Well, new tonight, crews with several local agencies removed the carcass of a horse after several days in a 7th Ward neighborhood. The owner says the animal has been named. It's Lucky. It's been on that sidewalk in front of his home all weekend. The owner says he couldn't afford to pay for the horse's removal. WDSU reporter Aubrey Killian is live on Murray with new details. Aubrey.
Hey, Sean, so the NOFD and the Department of Homeland Security both had to respond to this. They actually used a very heavy and state-of-the-art forklift to get Lucky out of the neighborhood. We spoke with Lucky's owner earlier today. Before the city responded Monday afternoon, Peter Williams' horse named Lucky was rotting outside his house under a tarp in front of his home on Murray.
He's just like one of the family, just like one of my children.
Williams says Lucky died Friday due to stomach issues. Lucky lived in Williams' backyard.
He rolls over and everything.
Williams says he called the city to come out and pick up the carcass, something he says he's done before with his horses.
The city used to come out. I used to pay $60. $60 for my horse, 2 of them.
He says he was told they cannot provide the service. The LASPCA says they do not pick up dead animals either. The SPCA says the city normally picks up a dead animal if it's less than 25 pounds. Due to Williams' circumstances, the LASPCA was able to bring in help.
Stan the horseman, they call me.
Stan Weiser works with horses and knows how to properly dispose of them.
It does not look good because of the animal's time period. He has swollen up quite a bit and may come apart.
He says he can't do the job because of the time it's been sitting out and how big it is.
Looks like to be about 1,100 pounds. He's well fed, well taken care of.
But some neighbors disagree and question why a horse was living in the neighborhood.
I don't think this is any place for a horse to live in right here. No, absolutely not.
You got feces and other fluids draining on the sidewalk, and people live here. It's not sanitary.
So Lucky was 7 years old, and again, the NOFD and the Department of Homeland Security have gotten him safely out of the neighborhood. And again, a lot of neighbors from speaking with them in the past couple of minutes, they're, as you can imagine, excited to not have that smell out here as well. Back to you.
Aubrey Killian, thank you, Aubrey. Meanwhile, St. Tammany Parish deputy shot in the line of duty spoke out for the first time today. A police pursuit on Easter Sunday morning in Goodby ended in a gun battle between a suspect and deputies. Deputy Justin Nail was shot once in the abdomen. After undergoing surgery, Nail is now in the recovery stage. And today, the longtime deputy said his recovery is going to be a long road, but Nail knows working in law enforcement, it comes with risk. Next at 5, some top scholarship students may soon have to pay back their awards. The new bill that makes it possible.
Plus, the First Lady tackles cyberbullying in a new initiative. What other problems she wants to address involving children.
And record heat today, plus an air quality alert. What you need to know coming up.
New developments on the murder of tow truck driver Big Lee. The suspect in the case, Wayne Higgins, has been charged with second-degree murder. He is accused of fatally shooting Big Lee after a dispute Saturday in Old Metairie. Authorities say the neighbors argued regularly. Higgins' bond was set at $500,000. Army officials investigating reports of sexual assaults against children at Fort Polk. Now, there's been at least 4 cases at the Western Louisiana base, and authorities concluded that 3 of those cases were true. This comes after an Associated Press investigation that found many sexual assault reports among children at U.S. military bases.
About 45,000 people with disabilities could lose health services under a proposed state budget plan. People in wheelchairs and parents of children with disabilities packed a hearing room at the Capitol to rally against this bill. The bill attempts to close Louisiana's budget gap by making drastic cuts to health care. Governor John Bel Edwards wants lawmakers to pass replacement taxes in a special session to stop the cuts. Talking about money, the bill that would require some top recipients to repay their scholarship went before the House Appropriations Committee. The bill applies to students who failed to meet top scholarships requirements when it comes to GPA and class load. It also applies to students who resign from college. Under the bill, students will have to pay back the scholarship and any interest accrued on unpaid amounts.
The number of homes damaged by a volcanic eruption on Hawaii's Big Island rose to 26. Thousands of residents remain under mandatory evacuation orders. The volcano began erupting on Thursday, sending poisonous gases and plumes of ash into the sky. NBC's Jay Gray reports.
Fiery rock and lava jumping from Mount Kilauea. Violent earthquakes ripping apart the ground, molten lava spilling from the cracks and seeping into neighborhoods. The Big Island is under attack from Mother Nature.
I've been awake for 2 days. I have no idea. I just want to get to a safe place. And I'm just thankful that my family's together.
Almost 2,000 families have been forced to evacuate. Amber Makuakuna lost everything she couldn't throw into trash bags as she rushed to safety.
Yeah, my son asks, Mommy, can we go home?
They don't have a home anymore. One of more than 24 swallowed by rivers of fire. The entire island is under a state of emergency right now, and there's growing concern as a plume of smoke and ash spreads. Toxins creating a code red air quality warning near the volcano.
The levels are still high. What we call the hot zone, or the very extremely risky zone. People need to be out of that area.
An area under siege with no relief in sight. Scientists say the eruptions and earthquakes could continue for days or even weeks. Jay Gray, NBC News.
Walmart has announced it's limiting opioid prescriptions. Walmart and Sam's Club pharmacies will no longer provide more than a 7-day supply of most prescription painkillers. This is for initial opioid prescriptions for acute pain, like for minor dental surgery. CVS Health made the same move last fall. The new restrictions at Walmart and Sam's Club are expected to take effect within 60 days.
First Lady Melania Trump announcing her new initiative at the White House.
So today, I'm very excited to announce Be Best, an awareness campaign dedicated to the most valuable and fragile among us, our children.
It's called the Be Best program. The purpose is to fight cyberbullying, drug addiction, and suicide among children. The First Lady says she plans to encourage kids to use the internet in positive ways, tamping down on cyberbullying and negativity.
My hope is that together we can be best at helping children and families find effective ways to educate themselves and support each other. I'm asking you all to join me in providing support and guidance to our children so that we can make a real difference.
President Trump signed a proclamation declaring today Be Best Day in honor of the First Lady's new platform.
It is a historic day in New Orleans, a record-breaking day in New Orleans because we have our first official woman mayor in office. But I did hear there is a record tie that's also going on.
I know.
Weather-wise.
We hit 91 degrees.
Wow.
That is a record high. We tied it. And it's also the first time we've hit 90 degrees at the airport. And you can look out the window. There's the river still running high at about 13.5 feet. A little bit of cloudiness out there, but during the day it was a whole lot of sunshine. Here is a look at that record high, 91 degrees. Previous record 91 set in 1952. The average high is 83, obviously well above that. Right now it's 89. We've got a little bit of cloudiness. The humidity 31%, feeling toasty out. Temperatures elsewhere, it is still 90 degrees over in Houma, 88 Bogalusa, 85 at Gulfport. So we can look at what happened today from David Moore. There's the blue sky we had most of the day. And when you have a lot of sunshine and you have pollutants in the air like exhaust from cars, you can get ozone created. It's a chemical reaction with the sunlight. And tomorrow the air is expected to be unhealthy for sensitive groups. So if you have trouble breathing during the hot time of the day from noon until 7 o'clock, you're going to want to stay inside. We've got a weak front that's moving through, and if you look carefully, there are a couple of showers. There's the dry air that's moving to the south. We've had a little bit of rain right along the Mississippi Gulf Coast, not much now. Some rain over here by Mobile and some rain as well farther to the north in the west central portion of Mississippi, but right now not seeing much activity. And I don't know if you felt it, I certainly didn't, but we had an earthquake yesterday at 11:47 in the morning, about 112 miles southeast of Buras, 4.6 magnitude. That's considered a light earthquake, about 6 miles below the surface. So as we look at the forecast, an isolated shower possible, but not likely. There we are tomorrow with a shower right along the coast. So I have a 10% chance of rain. As you look at tonight, we're in the mid 80s, early 9 o'clock, in the upper 70s. Even at 11 o'clock, we're still in the mid 70s. Now it's going to be kind of cool on the north shore in the morning, south shore in the low to the upper 60s, right there at the lakefront, low 70s. Looking at the day going into the afternoon, upper 80s to near 90 degrees. I've got 90 for Bogalusa, Hammond, Kenner, also over towards Houma. So also if you're suffering from allergies, oh my goodness, I have been crepe myrtles now blooming, the ligustrum blooming, but it's oak, ash, sycamore that are running high right now for pollen. Along the coast, the wind fairly light, northwest at 5 to 10, and that tidal range still a foot over at Southwest Pass. All right, let's look at the forecast. I've got us at 90 tomorrow and then upper 80s all the way through the week. For your Mother's Day, I think a nice day with temperatures upper 80s and a slight rain chance.
All right, Margaret, thank you. Next at 5, another record-breaking year for tourism in Louisiana. How many visited the Pelican State in 2017?
We're kicking off our week-long trip across America in Portland, Oregon, with a look at some unique efforts here to save lives in the face of the opioid crisis. Also, what some are calling hell on earth, that erupting Hawaii volcano claiming more homes. We'll see it tonight for Nightly News.